Welcome to the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I'm your host, Tenya Eichenberg, and this is a space where transformation begins. Here, we dive deep into energy healing, self-care, and the power of mindset to help you break free from old patterns and design a life that feels aligned, vibrant, and authentically you. Each week, we explore the tools, techniques, and real-life experience that guide us toward lasting healing and growth. Because true metamorphosis isn't just about change. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Now, let's get into this week's conversation. Welcome back to the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I'm Tenya Eichenberg, your host, and today I have with me Heather Holt of Make the Change podcast or Change podcast?
Change Happen podcast.
Change Happens podcast. And, I looked at what you gave me before and I kept repeating it to myself, and it's like as soon as the camera comes on, it's like boop, it's gone. Like when you walk into a room and you forget why you walked into the room. Well, welcome, Heather. I'm so excited to have you here and talk about your podcast, why you started it, where is it going? Because you're into season 2 now, correct? You're into season 2. You just finished season 1. But you've had a lot of what a lot of people would consider huge transformational changes in your life. And please introduce yourself and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Heather Holt. Thanks for having me. And I started a podcast, Change Happen, Then What? Out of a few different reasons. I'm a storyteller. I'm a narrative storyteller, so I do things a little bit different from most. And the reason why I think storytelling is so important is because when we tell our stories, we allow other people to open up to the experience of somebody else and possibly help them heal through someone else's stories. I found with my own journeys that by telling my story, that other people were able to open up and start to tell bits and pieces of themselves and help them heal. And it started 23 years ago out of the loss of my brother, my only brother, and to a suicide. So when I started telling that story 23 years ago, that became the biggest part of my life at that point. And at some point, that story kind of stopped defining who I was as a person so much. But my business at that point in time kind of revolved around that. But it morphed into something else. But it opened up the door for people to have a place to land, to stop feeling like they were alone in this journey of not having anybody to talk to about their own loss of somebody that they had lost. But to go back to that, in the beginning, when I first lost him, I realized that there was peace in him, that he felt like he needed to take his own life, that he was one of the people that I laughed with the loudest, that was always making other people laugh. He had the most infectious laugh, and we smiled a lot. You can look at any picture that I have with my brother, and we are smiling. And somehow, this seems to be a trend that we mask our insides with this outside smile, right?
Yeah. There's a commercial. It's a mental health commercial, and it's two guys at a like a European football game. So they're a soccer game, and they both come into the stadium, and one of them is very somber and quiet, and the other one's loud and happy and boisterous. And by the end of the commercial, the loud, boisterous one is not there. And it is we when we get into that state of such deep depression, we do mask how we're feeling, because and I've been there. I've been at that point, and we don't want to burden anybody with what's really
Yeah.
going on because we don't know how to deal with it. We don't know how to handle it. And so we just mask it over. And that's what your brother was doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one of the things I did is I wanted to forever just always have a smile for him. So I did the internal work to make sure that every day I woke up and I was finding a reason to smile
Mhm.
for him and made that promise to him. And I took his son in for a while because he was having some troubles. He was, they were young when he passed away, and you know, I did all of this work, Kundalini yoga teacher, mental health therapy, like you name the modality
Right.
of therapy that I did to make sure that I could find happiness in my everyday, and I did. And not all of it worked, but a lot of it did work, and I did find all of these tools and these resources, and I built this big toolkit around me to
Mhm.
help me get through my day and still help me get through my days. And then in the I'll tell you the biggest piece of my toolkit, and this is what I tell everybody, is honesty and truth. And
Absolutely.
and
With
those two,
yourself more than anybody
I
else.
was just gonna say, not with anybody else, but with myself.
Yeah.
And that's like, even so honest as to say, when somebody says to me, "How are you doing today?" And if it's okay, it's okay. And if
Yeah.
I'm having a bad day, I'm saying, today's not the best day, but I'm gonna get through it. Because that amount of honesty will make tomorrow a great day. And when we can get to that point of honesty within ourselves, we can help others see that it's okay.
Right. You're planting that seed for for everybody else that you come in contact with, that it's okay to have your feelings. It's
Yeah.
okay to not be okay, right? That
Yeah.
that old verbiage, it's okay to not be okay. But what you're also doing is you're telling yourself, yeah, I'm having a bad moment, but it's not defining me.
Yeah. And it's okay to be real,
Yeah.
especially in this world of social media where everything, when you're actually real, then and I don't mean real in a sense that go on social media and spew
Right.
your your
Your
stuff.
day. Right.
Like this is everything, but you don't have to be fake either. There's a way to be both
Yeah.
in life and in social media, and those are the things that are just, in my opinion, right now, it's so disconnected,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
reality. So, but I digress a little bit. So then about 4 years ago, I had brain surgery. And in the process of them taking out the tumor, I knew that I was going to come out deaf in one ear, which
Mhm.
is this year, my right ear. And I knew that they were working around my facial nerve as well,
Mhm.
because the seventh and the eighth nerve are very close together. So I knew that they would be breaking my hearing nerve, but they were hopeful that they were going to be able to keep my facial nerve. Um, but they were not able to. So they broke my facial nerve
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So although you can't quite tell as much anymore, other than this side of my face does not look the same as this side of my face. Um, this side of my face is paralyzed.
Mhm.
So, and when I say that, it's hard for people to understand because there is the facial nerves on the outside, which control your smile and some of the other things on the outside of your face. And then there's the inside nerve, which controls the paralysis of it.
Yeah.
So these 13 nerves on the outside of your face that actually control what this is doing, they were seven of them were coming backwards, which is actually called synkinesis. And so they were able to go in and remove those 7 nerves and leave the 5 that were good.
Mhm.
And one of those nerves is actually this nerve right here, connected to this
Mhm.
smile. And so that one was good, so she left that one. So you can see that this part of my face is turning up now instead of turning down. They have been able to reconstruct a lot of the side of my face, but I can't feel it. My eye doesn't close. What's super cool about being paralyzed on the side of my face as I'm about to turn 50 is if you look really closely, you can see like all the wrinkles on this side of my face, but over
Right?
here,
You
there
don't
are
have them.
none. I don't
Well,
have
that's
any
why Botox works, right? Botox paralyzes those nerves,
exactly.
right?
So, like, as I age, only one side of my face is gonna age. I'm gonna have to get Botox on the side of
Right?
my face in order to look normal.
Well, I find it so interesting that, and I don't know if you've had this thought or not, and I just got like this rush of um like almost lightheadedness. So like when I either yawn, I get goosebumps, or like there's like this wave of lightheadedness when like there's an indication that something needs to be brought up. But that you said that you were going to find a reason to smile every day for your brother. And then 4 years ago, your smile was taken away. So do
Yeah.
you think that this was, uh, in a way, an indication of like you needed to find a way to smile for yourself at that point, as opposed to smiling for somebody else? And so, I mean, it's absolutely horrible what you had to go through, and the universe works in stupid and mysterious ways. But that's what popped in my head, is like, you kept saying you know you're going to find a reason to smile for your brother every day, but what about you? What was your reason for smiling?
Well, that's what's so ironic about all of this is, so by nature, and by heart and soul, I'm an audio engineer. That's what I went to school for. And and I'm a storyteller. Like, I've known this my entire life, like since the ripe young age of, I can't even begin to 8th grade, 7th grade. Like, I remember telling my parents like what I was going to do for a living. And it's never come to fruition. And so right before my brain surgery, 2 years before my brain surgery, I had finally reconnected with my high school sweetheart, and we got back together after 25 years of not being together. So
Oh.
I was actually in love and in a happy place where I felt like I'm finally where I want to be in my life, like,
Hmm.
in my heart and
Yeah.
soul. And like, a lot of things around us were not um working, without going into detail, but a lot of forces around us weren't working, but we were working, and our
Right.
souls were connected in a way that it couldn't be undone.
Yeah.
And we knew that we would like talk our way through this all the time, right? So we were there, and then we were never going to get married, like that wasn't even a thing, right? And then one day out of the blue, he just randomly got down on one knee, no ring, no nothing. He's like, "Will you marry me?" And I was like, "Okay, this is so weird, right? Like, I don't even know why this is happening." Before I found out about the tumor, this was like in November, I think,
Mhm.
of 2019. And so he was totally serious, and we started planning the wedding, and we were going to get married in June of 20. That must have been, oh, it must have been, November of 2020, so right maybe into COVID,
The middle
right?
of COVID.
Yeah, in the middle of right, the start of COVID there. And, so then, uh, and so we were gonna get married in June of 2021, and then I was diagnosed in March of 2021 with the tumor. And because of COVID, we ended up getting married before June
Mhm.
because of all of the
Right.
stuff. So we had
Right.
like but because of the paralysis, I was so glad we did, because I literally, I looked like I wouldn't have been able to smile in any of our
Yeah.
wedding pictures.
Yeah.
It would
And
have
that's
been
important.
horrible.
That's important
It
for those
was.
kind of moments for your outside to reflect your inside.
I, it's not as important now
Right. But at the
for where
time
I've
it was.
come from, but at the
Yep.
time. So to go back to your original thought, is I had to go through the process of grieving my brother again, going through all of that, knowing it's been, 20 something years, knowing where I am in my life, and then um and still having this like deep, deep desire to get back into what I know, what I love, and how do I do that?
Mhm.
Right? And this my podcast is really what wakes me up every day. I was so stressed out the other day from like my work that I do, because I still have to make money. And I came home and I just sat down and I just started doing this, and like everything went away. And
Yeah.
when I got there, I was like, now I can get through the rest of my day,
Yeah.
so, when you find, when all of that stuff comes together, that feels like you're doing your soul's purpose, and that's what I feel like has finally happened. So yes, there's some truth and validity in what you're saying, for sure.
Yeah. And I want to say that when, because in the energy world that we are so familiar with,
Yeah.
you hear a lot about what is my purpose? What is my purpose in life?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people tie their purpose to a monetary value. They think their purpose
Yeah.
is to do something that's going to make money. And that's not always the case. That's hardly ever the case,
Yeah.
right? Money
Yeah.
is just another form of energy, but our purpose is just what lights us up, what brings us joy, what causes us to ignite that smile and that fire inside of us.
Hmm.
And for
Yeah.
you, it's audio engineering, it's your podcast, it's
Yeah.
telling stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, when other people come to me and talk to me and say, "Oh, I want to do this or I want to do that," and tell me your why and let me look in your eyes,
Mhm.
because that's when I know whether or not this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Because when you see the fire, and when I said to my husband and I told him, like, I sat on this theory for months before I actually said it out loud, because I knew what it was going to take to get this together, right? And to
Yeah.
even start it. Um, and it was like he built me this studio in a week, just because he saw that it
Yeah.
was a yes. And when that happened, that was the other yes, right? Like that was another one of those things where it was just like there was no questions,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
when there's always been questions in the past, it was just one more piece of the puzzle to where there was no questions.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And so now
Yeah.
you've just finished up season 1.
Yeah.
And how many episodes do you have in season 1?
I did 13 full length episodes in season 1, and then I do like 5-10 minute episodes also. So
Okay.
there was another 13 of those as well. So it was pretty much like 26 weeks, because I did one a week.
Okay.
Um this next season I'm actually going to release um one a week. I have 26 guests already interviewed. and season 3 is being recorded as I'm putting out season 2. And
Okay.
season 3 is going to be a little bit unique because while I was recording season 2, I came across a few guest stories that were so super big that I just needed to tell them in a different way. So they're
Mhm.
going to be mini-sodes in season 3. So season 3 is probably going to be a little shorter unless I come across a few other guests, but their stories are going to be told over like 2 or 3 episodes
Okay.
just because their stories are so big.
Right. Right.
I couldn't justify putting them in 20 or 30-minute episodes just because there was so much to tell.
Yeah.
But there's like we're doing this
Mhm.
conversation, right?
Yep.
So I have these conversations with people, and then I go back and do the research on their life and maybe what their ailments or whatever they are, and then I tell the story of their life through
Yeah.
my eyes.
You deep dive into
Yeah.
the people.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that. And
So,
we're actually meeting next week for mine. So
yeah.
that's exciting.
Yeah. I
Um,
like it to kind of be, I was thinking about this when I was putting this first episode together, like a time capsule for somebody
yeah.
of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And I love that the way you say that, a time capsule. Because I think in this day and age, and I've noticed it a lot since the passing of my mom, is that our generation, the Gen X generation, I don't think we are as um, invested in our family history.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to come from the chaos that a lot of us grew up in. Like, we don't want to hold on to that chaos, which means we kind of ignore all the history that we came from because it is so chaotic.
Hmm.
But we do need to tell those stories so that future generations can learn.
Well, I said, my mom and my daughter and my granddaughter were here yesterday for the first time since she was born, and we didn't take a picture.
Yeah.
And I said, it's great that we're also in the moment that we didn't take a picture, but sweet Maisie doesn't. What happens if my mom doesn't wake up tomorrow?
Right.
What happens if I don't wake up tomorrow? Sweet Maisie's never going to see that picture,
Yeah.
and that's not fair for her.
No, no, but she's going to have those in the moment
Well, she's only
memories.
7 weeks old.
No, but that energy is there.
Yeah, I know. So what's
Your
so
storytelling is there.
Yeah. So, well, what came out of it was I said to my daughter, I said, call your photographer. We're going to end this right now.
Yeah.
We're going to go have a picture taken. We're going to have it done right. I want to have pictures because,
Yeah.
she should be able to have some documentation of
Yeah,
the four of us
absolutely.
together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that, with the beauty of what we have at our fingertips as far as storytelling goes, you can write these stories out and create this beautiful family biography
Yeah.
to go along with those pictures.
So I started a lullaby series for this season. There Some of them are not, but I have the 12-month lullabies from the astrology, but
Okay.
they were inspired from of course, my sweet Maisie. But they're called Dear Sweet Ones, and so I'm going to put a few of those out on the opposite sides of my full length episodes,
Hmm.
and they're super sweet, just little lullabies that people can share with their sweet ones. Um, and I just thought that would be another thing that can be added to make people smile. I have smile drops, 5-minute smile drops, that I put out too, just little funny antidotes, like, when you're in the grocery store and why are the lights so bright and why are there so many noises and why can't people be nice? And, little things just to remind people that, you're not alone in the world. You're not
Yeah.
the only one going through it.
And I think that is important for us to keep repeating that people are not alone in their stories. They
Yeah.
may feel alone because their immediate circle may not understand what they're going through, but they're not alone. And we do have this beautiful platform of social media
Yeah.
where we can find people who are going through or have gone through what we've gone through and can understand. But there is that piece of us that blocks us from sharing our story with others because we don't want to burden them. We feel like we're burdening people, but we're not.
Yeah.
How, and I think it's a good lesson for other people that if they're not ready and willing to carry somebody else's story, that they also need to speak up and say, hey, I love you, but I don't think I'm the right person for you to talk to. I think they've got to talk about both sides.
Yeah.
But I love that you are bringing people's stories to a different level.
Thank you.
And make sure that you guys go to her podcast and listen to them, because they're just, it's not just like we're doing here, like I'm interviewing you and you're telling me your story. You're telling our story.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely different. And I, this is what's so cool. The feedback that I've gotten. I interviewed a girl the other day, and she said to me at the end, she said, "Thank you for allowing me the space to go as deep as I went. Nobody has ever let me do that before or asked me those questions."
Yeah.
And I think that those are the moments where we can get really real and really raw
Mhm.
and make those human connections just a little bit more. Um, and I think that's where, for me, that's where the storytelling and the healing really begins.
Yeah. You're doing investigative reporting on normal people.
Yeah. Well, this is what I said. So I try not to say this too much, but it is true. I love true crime podcasts. so I listen to a ton of them, like, right? So, but I'm not a reporter, I'm not a newscaster,
No,
and I don't tell true crime, like, I
no.
don't. But there are a lot of pieces to what I do that were born out of my love for some of this type of
Yeah.
reporting,
Yeah.
right? And it's kind of like a documentarian style reporting
Right.
on a regular person's life. And in
Yeah.
my trailer, I think I said, these aren't stories you're hear in the news, but they're stories that need to be told.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, but they're not stories you'll hear in the news, but everybody's story is important.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to share their stories, and everybody, I don't think everybody wants their story to be told, but the people that want their story to be told have somebody on the other end that needs to hear it to help them heal.
Yeah. Or yeah. Or to just let them know, yeah, to heal.
Right?
Even if they come to the conclusion that they're not alone in their journey, that is very healing.
Exactly.
And I'm
Exactly.
sure that there have been podcasts and stories that you've listened to that made you stop and go, oh, I needed to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I hope for. And the one thing that I wasn't getting from true crime, which is
Right.
why I started this, the one thing I wasn't getting was a happy ending,
Yeah.
and I wanted at the end of all of my stories there to be positivity, because I don't believe there's enough of that in the world right now.
I absolutely agree. That's
You know?
one of the things that I talk to my clients about is you have to look for the glimmers. You have to
Yeah.
look for that silver lining, even in the most challenging things in your life.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when you focus on that negative, it just brings more in.
And I feel like if you're listening to something anyhow, if you can listen to something that might bring a little bit of positivity into your life, heck, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Heather, what are 2 or 3 nuggets that you would want the listeners of your episode to take away?
Yeah, those are always really good questions. I think that I think the biggest thing, I think I said it in the beginning, is be honest with yourself, be truthful with yourself, and really trust yourself. Trust your intuition, trust your gut. You pretty much always know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really stop and learn to re-listen to yourself. Because I think that's one thing that a lot of people have a hard time doing as well,
Yeah.
is really listening to not only just listening to themselves, but standing in their power and saying, no, this is what I like and this is what I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
I
a
mean,
generation of people pleasers.
yeah. And I think that starts, I do honestly believe it starts from being honest and truthful with
Yes,
yourself.
it does. Tell everybody also where can they find your podcast?
Yeah. Well, you can find it on all platforms by looking for changehappenpodcast.com or change happen. Just go to changehappenpodcast.com. That's the easiest place to find it.
Changehappenspodcast.com. Heather,
Change happened with a D, not
change,
an S.
change,
Change
change
happened
happened
podcast. Yeah,
podcast.com.
podcast.com.
Change
Yeah.
happened podcast.com.
Yeah.
Heather, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a little bit of each of the moments in your life
Yeah, you're
that
welcome.
changed
Thanks,
your
Tenya.
life forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Made
you
me
so
who I
much.
am today. I'm sure it's still going.
All right, so make sure you guys go to her podcast website, changehappenedpodcast.com.
You got it.
Make sure you leave a review after listening to every single episode that she has done, and come back next time for the next episode. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I hope today's episode brought you inspiration, joy, and a spark of empowerment. Remember, transformation is an incredible journey, and every single step you take towards self-care and healing brings you closer to the life you truly desire. If this episode uplifted you, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us to share this journey of hope, resilience, and joy with many listeners. For more tips, support, and inspiration, come and visit us at designyourexistence.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep shining brightly. You are absolutely worth every bit of love and care you give to yourself. Take care, stay joyful, and be well.